Good day. Aliens versus Predator. What should have been a pretty basic concept was helped greatly by the era that it came out in. It took until, 2004 for it to finally become the crap one would have thought it would be. AVP could have just been snarly monsters going at it with helpless humans caught in the middle, but talented writers took snarly monsters and turned it into an engine for storytelling. Instead of just getting stories where snarly monsters show up and people die, we got new life and new civilizations, and the writers boldly went where no one had gone before. The AVP universe was something pretty bloody special. We had a cyberpunk world with aliens and heroic characters, and the Predators were able to straddle the line between being alien and understandable, and thus by being understandable they could be compelling characters in their own right. The Aliens and Predator universe didn't last very long, however, as the AVP novels numbered a grand total of 3, and the Alien novels numbered a grand total of 9. But man, what a world it created. Today, we're looking at the chronologically last Aliens vs. Predator novel and the chronologically last Alien story. Aliens vs. Predator Hunter's Planet was written by our buddy Dave Bischoff and published in those ancient days of December 1994, and is the sequel to Aliens vs. Predator Prey and AVP War, although this novel predates AVP War. The comic AVP War was published May through August of 1995, and AVP War was a sequel to an Aliens comic called Berserker, a comic that was meant to combine both the Aliens and Predator universes into one coherent whole. AVP Hunter's Planet sticks out amongst the pack of AVP works due to the fact that it was the sole novel not to be based upon a comic, and while it is fairly self-contained, there is dialogue that ties this novel to the rest of the 90s Aliens EU. Previously on AVP. Corporate Governor Machiko Noguchi's colony of Rishi comes under attack by 2 fell alien forces, the Predators, known in their own language as the Yacha, and the Xenomorphs. Machiko is able to get most of the colony to safety, cause she ain't poorly written, and teams up with the Predator leader named Dashinde. Together, they kick the crap out of the foul Xenos, but Dashinde gets mortally wounded, but before he dies, he is able to honor Machiko by drawing his clan symbol on her forehead, thus showing to the Yacha that she was able to become a full-blooded warrior. The rest of the colonists head to another planet, but Machiko remains, hoping that one day she might be able to contact the other Predators. That day comes, and due to the clan symbol on her forehead, the rest of Dashinde's clan allows her to join them for the hunt. Why was that not the movie? The novel AVP Prey gives us a bunch of characterization for the Predators, and it explains their motivations and gives us an icon of fiction. Dashinde, aka Different Knife, was a Predator leader that was by human standards extremely noble and treated things with a level of fairness not seen in any other Predator. He was able to both transcend his species and any bias towards humans he might have had, and treats Machiko as an equal, and forged a bond not really seen in much of media, and despite appearing in only one work, was able to stand out amongst the pack of awesome dudes, and is worthy of being in the pantheon of cool alien characters. Machiko herself, the 90s. When female characters were characters first and female last. No feminine screeds, just a broken woman that has to build herself up to take down the midnight black beast from beyond the stars. She starts out as an unfocused woman haunted by the suicide of her father. She is able to overcome this trauma and ends the story a hero. AVP Prey was able to bring us not just 2 movie icons duking it out, but great characters and a whole new setting to sink our teeth into. So was the sequel any good? Hell, buddy, yeah it was! AVP Hunter's Planet takes place a few years after Prey. Machiko left the Predators at some unknown point and has become a desk jockey and is bored to tears. She has a DB Gigolo 9000 android buddy named Attila the Hun, and they pal around both clothed and non. One day she is contacted by the totally not evil Livermore Evanston? I mean, if he was evil, I wouldn't blame him, since anyone with that name had either better be a bloody wrestler or a power-mad despot. Not sure which one pays better, though. Livermore offers Machiko a job to help him secure his personal game preserve planet from the depredations of the Xenomorph. We get another tie to the Aliens EU, as the novel says that Livermore has ties to the company, aka Weyland-Yutani. This is also a bit of a return to basics, as the company had not been heard from in a while, as the writers chose to use different companies to be the villains. Machiko joins up, and while on Livermore's ship, she discovers a hidden trove of Yachtja tech. The plot thickens when she arrives on the Hunter's planet, aka Blyor? Hunter's planet sounds way cooler. Machiko gets introduced to some mercs that she will be commanding. There's some awkward dialogue here and there, and thankfully the awkward dialogue ends pretty fast. Miss Machiko takes a liking to a merc named Ned Sanchez, and before too long, Ned and Machiko have some private time. It is written pretty well and does not come off as something written by a thirsty teenager or a thirsty 60-year-old. Not that the writing of a cringe sex scene is any different between the two. Ugh. Machiko learns that Livermore has a biotech lab and is cloning dinosaurs! Bloody T-Rexes, man! Jurassic Park controlled the world in those days. Machiko wonders what else he could be making in his biolab, and to make matters even worse, Machiko learns that the predators are on the hunt. Can she and her significant other stop evil John Hammond? Find out in AVP Hunter's Planet. Hunter's Planet is damn good for all the right reasons. Machiko gets a chance to grow, the stakes are raised, and most importantly, the plot is different from the first novel. What's even better is we get to see even more of the Predator Society. As the novel begins, a Predator hunting team shows up on Hunter's Planet, and their leader gets blasted by a xenomorph with a plasma rifle. A little shit predator named Larnixva takes command, and Larry just so happens to be Machiko's nemesis. The writing style is pretty clear and concise, a little too concise at times, and the totally not villain Livermore gets a little too much intuition here and there, and you'll find yourself wondering, like, how the hell did he know that? Some of the dialogue comes off as very British, despite Davey being an American writer, and we have some old uses of words. A real Gomer Pyle kind of guy is referred to as a geek. Geek meant something very different to what it means today. It was more closer to a neckbeard, and the link between geekiness and intelligence was not yet established. The weirdest part of the writing is some of the, sexiness. Machiko says that hunting xenomorphs is more intense, and the book says this, it's more intense than a orgasm? I love my 90s, but it got weird at times. Alright, well, now that all the normies have been scared off, let's get to the rest of the plot. Machiko and her love pillow sneak into the biolab. Now, over the course of the novel, Attila the Hun will basically be a deus ex machina. He can do just about anything, and that's good, because, well, Machiko and Body Pillow learn that Livermore has been cooking up clone xenomorphs that are cybernetically enhanced and can use guns. This is treated like it's a major threat, and in a fun sci-fi universe, it is. They are supposed to be super soldiers, kind of like the Adeptus Astartes. In reality, artillery goes boom. Now, I can give the writer credit here. He does mention that Livermore plans on building battleships for his Great Crusade, and that the clone Xenos, who know no fear, will be used to ensure that the recalcitrant populations will kneel before Livermore. You know, it doesn't really have quite the ring to it. Still, human troops would work well enough, but whatever, spooky aliens are cool. Machiko and Pillow get found out, and during their escape, Attila gets turned into a vibrator. Okay, well, maybe that bit much, but he does get blown up, and Machiko saves his head, and it's still functional. She decides to try and enlist the aid of the Predators, and finds that Larnixva is the leader. In a flashback earlier in the novel, Larry and Machiko were in a bit of a rivalry, and she calls Larry Shorty because he is abnormally short. Uh-oh. And the Predator elders wanted to castrate him, so the Shorty boy genes couldn't get passed on. Yeah, you know, the Predators were a matriarchal society in this continuity where the chicks were bigger than the males, and I bet they have body counts bigger than the males too. I'm not saying anything mean. I'm just saying that, you know, I think the Predator matriarchs kind of swipe right. I mean, nothing wrong with being short. So anyway, menopausal predators aside, you guessed it, Larry and Machiko fight. And it goes back and forth for a bit, but Larry gets the upper hand and Machiko has to be bailed out by her gigolo with the frickin' laser beam on his head. Yeah, her android just so happens to have a frickin' laser beam on his head. It does get justified later in the novel. After defeating Larry, a honorable predator takes command. He is named Backup, aka Barry. Barry Yuri here was established early on as a good guy Pred when he spared a space pig from getting chomped by a xenomorph. The climax, oh my, of the novel has Machiko contacting Nettie Boy and setting up an alliance between the Preds and the Mercs to take down the evil John Hammond. Okay, you know what? In reality, John Hammond in the Jurassic Park novel was evil. So I guess we could say that Livermore is the eviler John Hammond. Anyway, the battle is pretty epic, but Livermore has an ace up his sleeve, the clone Xenos. Sadly, they kind of shit the bed in about 5 seconds. Basically, he forgot to update the firmware, and they go haywire. Machiko is able to capture the command center and then set a trap for Livermore. She convinces him to blow the cybernetics on the Xenoborgs, and then introduces Livermore to some of her friends. The 90s was great, because when the Predators show up to the command bunker, they have Livermore's head in a sack, and Attila the Gigolo says, "Alas, poor Yorick." Man's got one-liner game for sure. So come to find out, Attila was justified in being a one-body pillow army because he was a plant by some anti-corporate rebels. See, the rebels figured that after Machiko saw the elephant, aka the non-corporate world, that she might join their cause. So they ensured that when she went shopping for a body-sized vibrator, she ended up purchasing a Terminator that was programmed in all the fun ways, in addition to being able to kill people. In fact, Attila blasts a corpo just before the novel ends, with his frickin' laser beam on his head. Attila, the resistance leader, tells Machiko that there are many people that wish to rise up and in the corpo state, and that she is basically Princess Leia now. Yes, at the end of the novel, Machiko has grown from broken woman that gets off on hunting to having her own planet and boyfriend, aka Aliens Han Solo, and the ability to build an army to free the oppressed peoples of the galaxy. That is how you grow a character, and that's how you build upon a story, and it's implied that Backup the Predator might drop in as the budget allows. Did they ever follow up on this awesome plot hook? We truly live in a benighted world, as Hunter's Planet never got a sequel, and everything went back to basics, and we got nothing this good ever again. As for me, I see this as the end of the AVP series. You know, a bit short-lived for my taste, but hey, it ended on a major high note. You know, an Aliens vs. Predator TV series set after this novel would have been awesome and doable. You could keep the expensive Xenos and Preds in the background while focusing on the corpo fighting. The sets could have been simple enough to do, and you could have had a Predator cameo now and again. It could have printed money if written right. Alas, this is all we got. And it was good. If you haven't cracked this novel open in nigh on 20 years, break it out and have some fun. I'm General Lotz, and I'm wishing you good AVP War and good AVP the TV show, if only. Whatever makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and please consider leaving a like or a comment, as the algorithm desires your soul. And I want to thank all those fans who have supported this channel, both past and present.